Hello and welcome to another episode of the Marketing Munchies, the podcast where we try and satisfy your appetite for marketing knowledge in less than 30 minutes. Today, I'm joined once again by LJ. Welcome, LJ.
Hello.
And you're the perfect guest for today's episode because we're talking Google algorithm updates. I'm guessing this is something that as an SEO expert, you're always trying to stay on top of. Feels like there's always Google algorithm updates to keep up with. But what can you tell us about some of the more recent Google algorithm updates?
Oh my God, these are like an earthquake that just happened in the SEO space. So algorithm updates, they happen on daily basis, by the way. But we have something that is called core algorithm update, which we don't know when they happen. Google rarely announces before they actually happen, but you can tell when it's literally like an earthquake. Something happens and you start to see the rankings dropping or you start to see the traffic dropping and you're like, what is going on? So the first thing as an SEO expert, you jump into the chatter, you jump into Twitter, and that's when you know, okay, there's something going on. There is an algorithm update. So since the beginning of this year, Google has been really active. There has been 2 core algorithm updates, plus the one that happened end of last year. So in a span of for less than 6 months, there has been 3 core updates that have happened, and they definitely had an impact on a lot of people's websites. Some websites were ranking on the first page, suddenly disappeared from the top 10 pages on Google. And those 3 core updates are focusing mainly on quality. So as we discussed before, it's now the focus for Google is really on the quality of content, the quality of backlinks. So the update that happened at the end of last year, it was all about backlinks. They were making sure that, no spammy backlinks were happening. And at the beginning of this year, the 2 updates are actually content. So the first update that happened in February was around review websites. So it doesn't mean that, you're one of those websites that provides reviews, but even if you're a website that is selling products or selling even if it's a one product, you are considered as a product review website.
Yeah, right.
So it's important that you mention all the important things about your website, about your product. Why would people want to come to you versus your competitors? And that was the update in February. And the last one in March, which was literally on the 15th of March, it was just mainly content. So, it was focusing on the quality of the content. It was focusing on questions that you ask yourself. If I am my customer, would I find the relevant information that I want? Would I share your website? Would I bookmark your website to come back to it? And would I find all the answers to my questions? So if your website doesn't provide that, you have lost rankings.
So, I mean, from reading about it, was called literally the helpful content update, right? So I guess it does what it says on the tin. It's really about making sure that the results that it serves up to people who are searching for a particular query are going to get the links that are going to most likely help them with whatever it is that they're searching for, right? So as, from a technical SEO perspective, what are the things that you're looking for in your client campaigns to help them achieve that aim and either regain or gain the ranking or maintain it?
So the number one thing for us from a technical point of view, first of all, when some of our clients lost rankings because of that. So the first thing that we did was check the technical issues of the website. We go to Search Console. We check, are there any flags, any warnings done by Google? If not, you know that it's really about the content on your website. And you check the speed of the website, make sure that everything is fine. If not, then it's definitely all about the content. So what we usually do is we look at the new websites that got higher authority or got new rankings, basically, and we see what they've done differently. And that was the exercise that we did for the clients that lost some of their rankings, where we checked the websites that gained more ranking and we saw what was different and why did they gain that those new rankings versus our client who lost the ranking. And then that's when you assess. So some of the things that we noticed was frequently asked questions.
Yeah.
So if you don't have frequently asked questions on your homepage or on your website, you might have been affected by it. It's not a necessity, but it is something that we've noticed has happened. And just a disclaimer, like Google, they never tell you exactly what you need to do. It's just speculations, and you just compare where you are versus your competitors. The other thing that affected the ranking as well was the quality of the content. So if you had content that was written based on the previous SEO rules, where they were written to just satisfy the robots or include enough keywords, those lost rankings as well. So if your content didn't have meaningful information and answers to actual human beings asking or wondering why you should choose your product or service, then you lost rankings. And I guess the third thing that we've noticed is as well, it doesn't matter how much content or how much copy you have on a website. I mean, and that's something that Google confirms all the time. It doesn't matter if you have 2,000 words and your competitor has 1,500 words on their homepage, if you're not providing that value.
Yeah.
So a lot of people fall into that trap. Where they say, okay, my competitors all write around 2,000 or 2,500 words, and I try to beat them, but my copy is horrible or meaningful or doesn't provide value, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah.
And Google keeps confirming that to all SEO experts, saying, don't focus on the quantity, just focus on the quality of what you're writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the main things that you should look into. The other thing as well is reviews.
Yeah.
So that's an important part of a website. And I guess it goes back to the EAT, which is showing, your expertise as well, and how people are saying that you are authentic and you're providing good data and good services, really. So if you have Google reviews, maybe implement them into your website if you can. Yeah. I understand that there are some industries that you can't really do that, but if you can, just do it.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is making sure that your content serves the purpose of your service.
Yeah.
So again, put yourself in your customer's shoes. And if you find your information relevant, simple, easy to read, then you'll definitely be rewarded by Google. And if your content is hard to read, just written for robots, then you're definitely going to lose your ranking.
Yeah. And you mentioned that acronym EAT earlier there. So just for those who might be listening to the first time, what's that acronym stand for?
So the acronym stands for, so it's EEAT.
Yeah.
Expertise, experience, authority, and trustworthiness.
Yeah. So basically, what Google's saying there, if you can showcase those 4 things in your copy, it's going to go a long way, provided your website's technically sound, it loads quickly, and it's easy to read. You've got the best possible chance of ranking well for the related search terms.
Correct. And then the other thing that we've noticed as well, so there is something that's called meta titles.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what it is, it's basically just a little description that you write so robots can see them, and then that will show up on the search page. So Google has, I don't know what they're doing, but now they are picking their own meta titles from the website. So even if you have written your own meta title, but the algorithm or the robots think that there is better content on your website that describes that keyword, then they will show that content.
Right. So if your website's showing up for a search term that maybe you hadn't intended it to rank for, Google is now sort of picking content out from the page that
100%
better answers that particular query. And is it literally copied and pasted? Like, is it copied from the content on the website, or are they using some sort of AI to write their own description?
No, I think it's a copy. It's just a copy from the website. So whatever Google thinks is best for that particular keyword. So let's say in our space, you wrote about your copywriting costs.
Yeah.
And you didn't intend it to be a keyword, but Google found enough information on your page that talks about that keyword.
Yeah.
So that will show up on the search.
Yeah, right.
And suddenly you either get more, you get rewarded, and then suddenly you're showing up on the search, or you lost that because your copy doesn't really mention anything.
Yeah, so there's this sort of balance to be as detailed as you possibly can, but also be sort of concise as well, and make sure that when you write something, it's sort of punchy enough that Google might pick this up as a nice short answer that could either be picked up as one of its featured snippets at the top of the page, or well enough that your actual website will be one of the top, first page listed websites for that query.
Exactly. So that's why, as we spoke at the start, whenever you're writing your content, don't think about it from your point of view, but think about it from your customer's point of view. What are the things that they would be looking for, and make sure that you have answers for them on your website. Yeah.
And I think that's just a really good principle to follow in any sort of marketing that you do, whether that's copy for a website. You always want to make sure that the content that's served up to your customer is going to speak directly to them and answer their queries, or help them get to a better place of understanding as to why your products or your services are the best fit for them and their needs at that particular point in time. I think, it's a very easy trap for a lot of businesses to fall into, to think that all the copy, all the marketing has to be about how great we are, how, why we're the best. And the best way of doing that is by showcasing to your customer that you can solve their issues, whether that's by showcasing case studies of work that you've done in the past, whether that's, like you said, including the Google reviews within the copy, or embedding those reviews on your website somehow, because that's also going to help build that authority and that trust, which are obviously two of the key elements that Google's looking for in your copy. I mean, you've spoken about the number of core updates that have happened recently, and it sounds like, from what you're saying, these are quite a lot to have happened in such a short period of time.
Yeah.
What do you think is driving Google to push out these updates so much more frequently? Is it something as simple as, the wider use of AI, for example, making it a lot easier for people to publish content? Do they feel like they need to do more updates to keep up with the amount of stuff being published now?
That's a very good question. And unfortunately, I don't think anyone has the answer to it, but I think probably the main issue that everyone is facing at the moment is exactly what you said. There are so many tools that makes it so easy for people just to write any content and any copy. And I guess at the end of the day, because of all the different platforms that we're having at the moment, like, come on, TikTok, if it stays and if it doesn't get banned, it has become one of the most powerful search engine tools as well. You have the likes of Bing as well, that they are working with the ChatGPT, I think, or they've implemented another
their own AI search
search tool for it. So Google is under so much pressure to show authentic information. And I think what happened in the past few years with the wrong information being uploaded to different websites or uploaded to different social media platforms, whether it was with the elections in America or during the time of COVID, where just wrong information was everywhere. And just the wrong websites were ranking on the first page that didn't really provide value. And I think Google, they're really heading towards providing value to their customers, because that's the shift that you see. So it's not just about, it started with the great user journey, then the speed of the website, and then the backlinks, and now they're focusing on content. And, as we said before, it's what you need as a user now. And I think with the search, but with the voice search that is coming up as well, you probably just want like good real answers for any query or any question that you have. So it's so unfortunate that you see horrible websites with horrible content ranking on the first page, whereas really good content and good quality content is not being rewarded by Google, and they just don't even show up.
Yeah. You've talked a bit about backlinks today, and you mentioned, they're really trying to clamp down on spammy backlinks. So what do you mean by a spammy backlink? How do you get a really good backlink? What are some of the things that you do to help your clients with that sort of stuff?
So spammy backlinks are basically backlinks or links that are built for your website on other websites that don't have authority.
Yeah.
Or they can be low quality directories or low quality websites, and it's just a backlink referring to your website. And a lot of digital marketing experts out there, they focus on the quantity of them, and it's really about the quality. So the way that you should do it as per Google is to reach out to other websites.
Yeah.
So let's say, we are in the digital marketing space, so I go to big websites who have trust and authority with Google, let's say moz.com, and I tell them, hey, can you put this article for me? And you should write this amazing content, and then just give it to them. So if the admin of the website likes it, they will post it and refer to your website.
Yeah.
So that's the legal way of building backlinks.
Yeah.
And it's called outreach as well, because you're outreaching to admins or bloggers with really high authority websites, and they will write for you. Or, for example, I can reach out to Forbes.com and say, hey, this is something that we've done at MobiWeb, and this is something that we're really good at. Can you please write about it? And this is the article for you.
Yeah.
However, there are providers as well. So other bloggers, let's call it as a marketplace, just like Facebook Marketplace, where they post their websites. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they are bad, but their job as a blogger is to improve their website authority, the quality of the content they post. So you as a business, you can choose to post an article for them. So instead of having to do the research and look for different providers, you have a marketplace that provides that service. So that's how
the marketplace connects people with high authority websites,
Correct.
with people who are looking to have their content published
Correct.
on those high authority websites. But I guess you still need to, again, whether you're writing that content for your own website or for someone else to then link back to yours, I guess that helpful content, quality content piece is sort of what's going to be the most important thing here.
100%. And there are a lot of backlink providers, so bloggers, that wouldn't publish your article if they don't think it's good enough, because that's the end of the day, it's their website quality and it's their reputation. So that's why we focus on the quality. And there are some bloggers that will happily write something for you as well. And then the topic doesn't have to be about you. Again, we go back to, don't sell yourself and be like, oh, I'm the best. Just show people why they require your services. And it's the same. Just write a piece of content that talks about your industry, that shows that you are an industry leader. And that's what will make it a good backlink article.
Yeah. And so with your clients, when, obviously we work together on quite a few clients and we sort of plan out their content and work out what we need to be talking about. But, how do you, from a pure SEO perspective, how do you sort of approach that content planning phase to make sure that, the content that we then go and get written up or that we put together for these clients is going to tick the boxes for Google?
So first of all, making sure that your keywords are correct for your target audience. Check what clicks you're getting, so what terms people are using and how they're reaching to your website. So that's the important base thing that you should be doing. The other thing is looking at the competitors and looking at, even if you're not ranking on the first page, but look at the other competitors and the people that are ranking on the first page. See what they have done differently. See why Google has rewarded them versus yourself. And make sure that you follow the guidelines that were shared by Google, because Google will tell you, and if you check their blogs, they will tell you what to do. And make sure that you are providing that quality content, providing that quality information, because that's how you will be rewarded.
Yeah. And I guess from my point of view, when it comes to working out what that quality information should look like, it's always great to be in touch with your customer-facing staff, have an understanding of what queries are they getting about your product, your service, what feedback are they getting about how your product or service is helping the customers. Talk to your salespeople who are out there and are actually fielding objections from potential clients, like what are the questions they're asking before they ultimately decide, yes, I'm going with this option, or no, I'm not. And then make sure that the content that you produce for your marketing channels, in this case, your website for SEO purposes, is proactively answering those questions. Because I'm a big believer in speaking to the people that you know are in your target audience and really learning about what they want to know about you, your product, your service, your business, before they make that purchasing decision. And just make sure that wherever possible, you're proactively answering those questions so that they don't need to wait to ask the salesperson or to call up. They're sort of being proactively answered. They're calling you, from a much warmer state, or they're starting that buying interaction from a much warmer state and more likely to convert once they've found your website, right? So, I think they're probably important things to think about as well from a quality/helpful content point of view.
Couldn't agree more. And you're the superstar of doing that because our mutual clients have actually gained rankings with the latest update, and that shows you the power of content, whereas some others that just solely depended on a backlink strategy without thinking of their content, and they were ranking for so long, have actually lost their rankings and were affected, versus our clients that we work mutually on. They actually gained rankings and became position 1 and 2, with the latest update. Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll throw to some questions and answers. So, Alja, you're our expert on this one, so I'll ask you the questions. You mentioned before that you've seen examples of where clients have been affected by a core update. So what are the things you're constantly monitoring for to see if a core update has happened, and B, if it's affected the ranking of your client?
So number 1, it's always checking the rankings on a regular basis. I know you don't be obsessed about your rankings, and fluctuations happen. So if you were position 2 and you drop to 4, that's not an actual drop. It's a fluctuation, and it happens all the time because, as we mentioned at the start, there are regular algorithm updates. So, make sure that you are on top of everything when it comes to ranking, but don't be obsessed with them. When it's a problem is when you lose 10 or more spots. That's when you realize there's a problem. If you realize that, oh my God, I've lost rankings for so many keywords, then there's a problem. First thing, check Google Search Console. If there are no warnings, you weren't penalized by Google, then look at Twitter, and there's probably an update that has happened and you got affected. And that's when you wait, because after the rollout of an algorithm update, Google will tell you how long it's going to take. And you just listen to the experts, the leaders in the industry, and listen to their recommendations, because they usually talk to them. And you can actually chat to Google's people on Twitter as well. So that's the thing that you would do, and then just start working and implementing all the recommendations that were given.
And for the the website owners that are trying to do their own SEO, what are some of the common mistakes that you see made by the DIYers out there?
As we said, they will focus on the length of the copy, for example, or they will talk about themselves, me, rather than why people should work with them. They probably have really bad hosting, so their website speed is not great, or their website is probably not mobile friendly, so they would lose rankings and they would lose points on that. So make sure just you're, again, comparing to the first 10 ranking websites, and make sure that you're providing better value and better information than them.
And what sort of 3 tools would you recommend a DIYer or someone who's doing it themselves have set up to sort of monitor the effects of any changes from an algorithm update?
So if you have the money to invest into a good tool like SEMrush, or there are cheaper ones like SE Rankings, then go for it, go invest. But if you don't, maybe just do that manually and check the rankings like once every week. Check your website speed by going to Page Speed Insights, which is a website provided by Google. Yep. So you can put your website link there and Google will tell you out of 100 how much you're getting. And the third tool, most important tool, is your Search Console. So also look for it on Google, and that will tell you if you have any issues or penalties or warnings. And the final one is Google Analytics, because that's where you'll see the data, the traffic, improving where the traffic is coming from.
Yeah. So what's the one sort of, I guess, metric that you might look to understand if your content, the new content that you've written, that, you've tried to make sure it ticks all the EEAT boxes and that sort of thing? What should you be looking for in terms of the metrics to see if that it is actually working?
First of all, you will start improving with the rankings, and it usually happens like no one knows again, but usually it starts to happen between 2 to 4 weeks. You will start to gain ranking, and sometimes you will gain like 20 positions right away. And we've seen it happen before. Once we uploaded the new content, we started to rank for more keywords. You immediately start to see the traffic improving, and you will see yourself going up and up and up in the Google search positions.
Beautiful. Well, Aljay, thanks as always for your expert insights on all things SEO.
Thank you, Matt, and it was a pleasure being here.
Beautiful. Well, that wraps up another episode of the Marketing Munchies. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you join us next Tuesday for a new episode.